Welcome to Fussy Meeple. Today's video, we are going over the top 5 board game components that just get us fussy.
Yes.
We each made our own individual list. Through conversation, we have learned we do have some crossovers.
But not the same numbers.
Some of them are first world problems, but hey,
For sure.
you know.
Look, I think any fussy things in board gaming is probably all first world problems, okay?
At the end of the day, whenever we spend a lot on board games, it should be something's are done.
Which is what makes it a first world problem. The fact that this is quickly becoming a very expensive hobby.
Yes.
But yeah, so we have come up with lists of things that just kind of irk us or make us fussy.
Yeah.
Annoy us. In board gaming, this can range from components to rule books and organization, etc.
Yeah. So let's start off with our number 5. What gets you going?
Tiny pieces.
Tiny
Pieces, tiny components, tiny little things that are going to roll off my table and my dog is going to eat. Now, he'll eat the big pieces too. But I'm more likely to not notice the tiny piece going missing right away versus a bigger piece thunking and hitting the floor. And when I'm talking like tiny pieces, we play some games where like the components are smaller than my pinky nail, and that's hard to work with. Like, what was it, Sky Team? Sky Team has these itty bitty tiny little coffee cups and tiny little switches that aren't like built into the board. You have to put them in yourself, and I'm always scared I'm going to lose one. Another game we got recently that we found out has itty bitty tiny pieces is Dinosaur World or Dinosaur Island or something with dinosaurs. You would think dinosaurs are big, maybe the pieces will be. No, pieces are tiny. Pieces are tiny. I'm going to lose them, and I just don't like handling them. Sometimes I used to get acrylic nails a lot, and picking up tiny little pieces is hard when you have fake nails. And my own nails are short and stubby. So I like my fake nails, and picking up tiny pieces just doesn't work. And it's definitely a first world problem, I understand. But yeah.
And that brings us to my
number
fifth problem, number 5.
Your fifth problem? You have lots of
my number 5, yeah. But number 5 being game inserts.
Oh.
Game inserts can absolutely drive me insane in some of the games. Some just miss the mark. Whether it be like some of the big box games that don't have, it's just a big box and there is no organization. Or even some of your smaller games, like some of the ones that stand out to me. The one that most recently got me fussy was Heat. Heat came with a organizer. It came with your basic plastic tray, and it showed, hey, I could fit 8 cards, I could fit 8 little tokens, and I could fit all the cards you need.
Yeah.
As soon as you get your first expansion, though,
no longer fits everything.
No longer fit everything except for those plastic components. And if you put all the maps in, it's going to lift up the game. Easily fixed by a 3D insert I printed, but still, like, the thought process didn't seem to be there.
No.
Because it easily could have been fixed by changing up that insert design a little bit. Another one is whenever a company says, hey, the organizer that we're going to include with the game will be able to fit all game components included, even with the deluxe edition.
Yeah.
And you get excited, you get the deluxe edition, and then not everything fits because you got the deluxe edition.
Paint the Roses.
Yeah, Paint the Roses was pretty bad.
Because we have the deluxe components for it, and the insert does not work for the deluxe components.
It does, but
it doesn't. Not well.
It doesn't do well with vertical storage, which a couple of the items on my list is due to us using vertical storage.
We do store things vertically.
But at the end of the day, that is the supreme way to have your board games. Horizontal is for the heathens. Because if I want to play, let's say, Cthulhu Death May Die Season 2, I can just go up and grab Cthulhu Death May Die Season 2. I don't have to go and
unbury him from other things.
Exactly. So I just feel some of the game inserts have missed the mark, but it's only number 5 for me because it's easily fixed with a 3D printer or just using your own methods such as bagging all your components
with our bag of bags.
Yes. But that brings us to our number 4. What you got for us?
That's 8. Number 4. My number 4, how can I lead into this nicely? What's your favorite game?
Nemesis.
Nemesis has an absolute garbage rulebook.
I wouldn't call it garbage. I'll see what you're going with.
I would.
It's an adventure book of a rule book.
It's a create your own adventure rule book, which leads us to literally creating our own adventure and our own rules for this game. Now, I am joking, but I'm really not, because the rule book for Nemesis is bad. And my number 4 is poorly written books.
Yeah.
I'm not one who likes to just sit and read a rule book, especially if it's a 50-page rule book like Nemesis or Galactic Cruise, or I'm not reading that. I'm sorry, I'm just not going to do it. I will, however, go watch a playthrough and learn how to play the game like that. But then, as always happens, I have to go and find some little nitpicky rule for some one-off scenario that'll probably never happen again. And now I've got to go delving through a rule book that is a create your own adventure story. Like, oh, if this happens, go to page 87 and then come back to page 4. And I'm not doing that. I don't like that. I would rather just invent what happens myself. Especially in Nemesis, which is already a cutthroat game in our household because I don't play co-op. So I don't like bad rule books. Your rule book needs to make sense for the game.
I think one thing that needs to be more common, because, and I only say it because it is included in a lot of rule books, is how to put together your game. It drives me insane whenever you get a huge, thick rule book, and it's enough to add a couple of stories about the game into it, but not enough to, hey, we gave you 500 game pieces and a box.
40 bags and a bunch of random insert stuff, and you don't know where anything goes.
Yeah, but we're not going to tell you. You have to find update 22 of 80 that shows how to put together the game.
Or pray somebody put a YouTube video out.
Yep, and guess what? Because that video is so old and because we changed a couple of the components, it's no longer going to fit that way.
No longer relevant.
Like how to assemble games. Stone Myers puts on the side of the box. Most companies that do this will put it in the rule book, and that's the only reason why I want to include it in that.
That's fair. Yeah.
Assembling the game box is important.
It is. It is. I agree with you. But yeah, no, I don't like bad rule books. They annoy me. What is your number 4?
My number 4 is choice of colors for game pieces. Some games are good about like the different player tokens being vastly different colors. Some games, i.e. Commit, where that's going to hit my list a lot, only because we just
got Commit, the big box, and we have issues.
But like their blue and their purple are off by like 1 or 2 shades. And there are some games like that where the differences in colors between tokens of players or just resource tokens is just a shade or 2. So whenever it comes to playing the game, looking out the board and trying to plan out your next moves, it's hard because you're over there like, squinting like, hey, is it this or this?
Right.
And sometimes it could be lighting of the game room, which could be important.
Right.
But your normal lighting, I have all the lights on whenever we're playing games.
Yeah.
I should be able to tell the difference between the 2 colors. I think the biggest issues we've seen is the blue and purple, red and pink, because you can't use hot pink and just normal red. You have to get 2 similar shades. Those are the 2 main ones that kind of...
Yeah, yellows and oranges. Some kind of you off.
Yeah. But that's it for my number 4. What you got for number 3?
Number 3. For number 3, and this is definitely a first world problem, and I understand that. But there are some games that don't have a dual layer board that need a dual layer board.
Yeah.
One that I can think of right offhand is Azul. So in Azul, you have this goes back to the tiny little pieces too. This tiny little black cube that is your score tracker. And your score tracker is just at the top of your little paper thin board. And it's flat and it goes wherever it wants to go. And that leads to a lot of guessing on, maybe I was on 57, maybe I was on 47. I don't know. It
I'm always gonna go with the number that's
I'm
better.
always going to go with the bigger number, right? So, but I will say this, Azul, well, okay. They released expansions.
Sleeves.
Little acrylic covers for their boards, right? To sort of mitigate that problem. And the boards didn't fit in there properly. We don't use it, but they did fix this problem in Mini Azul where it has a little
The acrylic piece built in.
Yes, but it's not a cube anymore. It's a little slidey clip.
Oh, the slidey clips?
The slidey clip.
Those drive me insane too.
Well, that's
But
not a bad one.
Yeah.
That was not a bad one. But it has a little slidey clip where you keep your score.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And that one's a lot better. Another one that needs one that didn't get one initially was Terraforming Mars, because you're managing all of these resources, and if somebody bumps the table, then that's dog. Then that's all gone. Either way, if a dog bumps the table, there goes all my resources. The game's a wash. I don't know what I'm doing anymore because I don't have my board memorized, but they also did fix it by making dual layer boards. So I think if you're trying to keep track of all these nitpicky little resources or health bars or things like that, you should have a dual layer board. What is your number 3?
Speaking of Azul and small pieces, that is our first crossover, and that is my number 3 is small chits or small pieces. It drives me insane because once again it goes into like looking over at the board, trying to see the pieces, and like missing pieces that were there that weren't there. Having to grab like, oh hey, especially if you have to grab multiple, like hey, I have to count 7 of these tiny little stars. Not only is it annoying to have to punch out the hundreds of stars for a game,
little stars,
but having to grab like 7 little stars and you over here, pinching at them to try to make sure you have 7. And most of the time they're cardboard. What infuriates me about the smaller pieces of cardboard is it seems to be the smaller the piece, the easier it is for them to break.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And even though it is cardboard, I'd like to think that my game should last more than just 3 to 4 plays before it starts, shredding itself.
Shredding away, yeah.
There's some other games. Azul is tiny pieces for the little score trackers.
Only have 2.
We're missing some of our score trackers for that.
Yeah.
It infuriates me whenever like we're putting away a game, you get that lid finally back on, everything
game on the shelf.
And then you have that tiny little token at the corner of the table that you've got to put in the box. You got to take everything back apart.
Yeah.
I get sometimes it's to help save money, to make the games cheaper for the consumers.
Sure.
But there's some games that there's no need to go smaller. It's like I'd much rather have, in a game that at max we're going to use 20 of these tokens. 20 normal size tokens is always going to be better than 100 tiny tokens. Because I don't need 100 tiny tokens whenever, even playing max players, we don't
get that many. Yeah. No, that's fair.
But that's it for my number 3. Now to move on to number 2. What you got?
Number 2. We play, especially recently, we've been playing a lot of games that have a lot of iconography in it. We're on a Euro kick. Euros typically have a lot of icons. And trying to figure out what all those icons mean while you're in the middle of a game is very challenging if the only place to see what the icons mean is the rulebook, and we're just all passing it around, trying to figure out what our turn is going to look like. So my number 2 is games that don't come with a player aid that should definitely have a player aid for it. We played Shackleton Base recently, and that game has, I wouldn't say it's like the most icon heavy game, but it would have been useful to have a player aid that explains the iconography it does have.
Well, was it Tabletop Ink is the worst we played?
Oh,
that.
Gosh, Tabletop Ink. I forgot about that. There was no player aid in that?
I don't think there was a player aid for the iconography. It was, we were having to learn it as we were going.
Yeah.
Once we got it down, it made sense. And
but one game that did super good was Galactic Cruise. Galactic Cruise made an all-inclusive player aid. It's a book, but it's got every scenario that you could possibly run into that you would need to look up in the rule book to complete your turn you can look in your player aid and it's going to tell you what to do. It even tells you how to get certain resources.
Right.
What actions you take if you need more money. What action to take if you need this and that. Like, it's fantastic player aid. More games should come with player aids.
Yeah.
Because that eliminates a lot of teach time. It eliminates a lot of, I forgot how to play this game, and now I need to read the whole rule book, which I'm not going to do, but I will look at my player aid to figure it out.
I was about to say, and this is another problem that's easily fixed. Just go to Board Game Geek, printing out player aids that somebody else has generated. I'm wanting to generate player aids if I can't find good ones for Great Wall.
Oh, yeah.
Just because, once again, it's like, hey, the player aids we got just did not hit the mark.
No, not for that one. I didn't.
And then
that was my number 2. I like a good player aid, and I think that ties in a lot with my number 5 or number 4 is I don't like to read rule books, so I need a good player aid.
All right.
What is your number 2?
My number 2 is 3D cardboard components. This could range anywhere from
the
trees.
Everdell tree.
Yeah. Oh no, the Everdell tree is even its own spiel. Because
we have the wooden.
Yeah, as they're like having a cardboard piece that you have to assemble and disassemble every game is going to put a lot more wear and tear on that game.
Oh, for sure.
The first edition of Everdell I had, the tree was literally falling apart because of how many times we were taking it apart and putting it together. Eventually upgraded to the wooden one once I got the collector's edition.
Yeah.
But then there's other games that what infuriates me is the need to take it apart, because there's some games where we own where you're putting together these small little trees. It's a piece of cardboard. Just basically, we're putting them together to make it a 3D style tree. Some games we have, once you make it that 3D tree, you put it back in the box as a 3D tree. Some games you have to take that tree apart for it to fit, and it's just infuriating. For whenever Bethany backed Terrorscape, she assembled that mansion, played it, and then I assembled a shelf onto our wall to put the
mansion on because I'm not taking it apart.
It's kind of sad because going back to the little like inserts thing, Terrascape did really good with their insert.
It's fantastic
to include space for the house and all of its components.
Right.
You know, the mansion.
I'm not taking it apart because I don't want it to break.
Right.
And that mansion is a key component in the game.
Yeah.
Like you have to have the mansion.
So those just kind of infuriate me just because it's cardboard tiles but they're not as good as the acrylic tiles or the metal tokens.
Yeah.
I am debating 3D printing the mansion for Terrascape just to have something like more proper sitting on the shelf. But
hey, it looks fine sitting on the shelf.
It does. But if we ever want to take it somewhere.
No, we can't. If people want to play Terrascape, they gotta come to our house. I'm not moving that mansion.
Exactly. Oh. Well, no, that's my number 2. And now let's go ahead and top off our list. What is your number 1?
My number 1 is sort of a crossover with his number 5. And it will really stop me from bringing a game to the table. And that is big box games or games in general that don't have functional organization. And this got me thinking because we just recently got Kemet Big Box in. And while it does include some organization and it does include some organization and it does have spots for everything to go and it's beautiful, it's not super functional. As in, I pretty much have to flip that whole box over to get anything out of it. So once you put the map inside, you have to pry it back out. Like, I can't get my hands in it to lift things out without potentially damaging things. And once we sleeved the cards, they don't fit properly in the thing anymore. And it's just, there's a whole lot of issues that arose with that game that made me think of other games we have that just don't table a lot, even though I love the game, because taking it out and getting it set up is annoying. And one of those games is one of my all-time favorite games is Mansions of Madness. I love Mansions of Madness. this. And while it's not a big box game, it is a very large game that has a lot of components split over several boxes. And there is no good organization for it. And we have jerry-rigged our own way of making it more functional to set up by using craft bins to hold and organize tokens and 3D printing card organizers. And we've organized the maps as best we can. The miniatures have just been flung into an extra box. We gave up on those guys. And but that game doesn't hit our table a lot because of how much of a pain in the butt it is to get it out and set up. It takes so much time for us to die in round 2. And that's just what it is sometimes. Another game I can think of, and was one of my very first experiences into modern board gaming. We played a full player count game of Scythe. And we finished late, and I had never put this game away before. I just barely learned to play it the day before. And we have the Scythe Big Box. And the Scythe Big Box is a box with 3 smaller boxes inside of it. So no actual organization. Those boxes aren't labeled, by the way. They've got pretty artwork on them, but they're not labeled. So the next day comes along and I'm going to say, I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll put the game away, babe. No, I did not. I mean, I did put the game away, but it was not in any way organized how it should have been. And now we have a 3D insert for that game. So now I can put it away and set it up all by myself. Without getting mad at it and wanting to throw one of my very favorite games out the window.
Yeah.
But I will say this, Stonemaier didn't learn because they didn't fix Scythe. Scythe's still a mess. But they fixed it with Wingspan. The Wingspan nesting box is absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
It has room for all of the expansions. It's got inserts. It's organized. It's beautiful. And it's easy to use. And I will take that game out and play it whenever because I can just pull out a thing and it's ready to go.
Yep.
So,
But I'll say my number one is a little petty, and it's not necessarily, it's caused by components, but it's not components themselves, but it's lid lift in boxes.
That's kind of petty, but I get it.
Lid lift in boxes, because it's one of those, a lot of these boxes, like, hey, you literally just need to make the lid a little bit larger or make the inside of the box a little bit shorter.
Slightly, yeah.
Because anytime you have too much space and components can move around, it's going to wipe itself out.
Oh, yeah, for
no matter what organizer you
sure.
use, it's going to wipe itself out.
Deception
Paint the
is
Roses.
a bad one for that, too.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily lid lift per se. But,
not lid lift, but it's going to wipe itself out. I have
Yeah.
to reorganize that game every time we open it. Paint the Roses is bad, though.
Paint the Roses always jumps itself up because it just doesn't fit together properly. And then we got the little elastic bands to go around it to keep it together. But there's some games that come and, you get done punching all the components. You get done putting it away like they suggested you put it away. And then that final step you take is putting that box lid back on. And having the box lid not go all the way down is just infuriating. We have every wall in this living room filled with shelves,
yes.
to include a little mini shelf that goes underneath our window
Yup.
on my left side. Yes. So, once you have that lid lift, you're taking up more space with that game, and then you're allowing that game to be easier for it to kind of come apart while it's on its shelf.
Yeah.
So I just think that's kind of a design flaw. And these are just things that
Dewey.
make us.
Marvel Zombies.
That's my fault. Marvel Zombies is 100% my fault because of the 3D insert that I printed.
There's one game that we.
But that's it for our top 5 list of things that make us fussy in board game components. Yeah. Other than that,
what makes you fussy about board games?
Right. What makes you just have an ick about a board game, no matter how simple it may be?
Board game icks.
Yep.
Yeah.
But hey, other than that, have a great day. Bye.